everyone. Welcome to another round of Tea Time with Steven. Yes, let's give the clap. Today, we're going to have with us the world runner-up champion, Cameron Big Cam of RealityCx himself. Get the claps! The claps! The claps! Yes, we're here. We're so thankful. We got celebrities. We're real channel.
I'd just like to thank y'all for having me on here. I believe this is just first time I've done anything like this. Probably not. I think Justin Dunbar did something a while back, but realistically, it's fun to do this. Y'all asked me to come on, and I'm down for anything. So let's see what we got going on today.
Oh, and we are glad to have you. It just is so much. You just get a champion, like a proven champion of a craft, like a literal master class. Could probably teach some school these younglings out here on the game. For those who don't know, we were out here at Cameron here was the world champion of our most recent about our Buddyfight World Championship Series. So can you tell us your experience at Worlds, Mr. Runner Up? Number one in America.
Japan was a lot of fun. It started off with 13-hour flight, getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to meet my plane, to get out there. After a 13-hour flight and landing around, I want to say 5. It's a weird world out there. It's a lot of culture shock. You don't know what you're doing. Subway systems. I've never gone on a subway system before, and just all the lines and maps and everything. But once we got settled in at Asakusabashi at our hotel, it was a very pleasant time, is what I would say. I immediately met up with Austin Summers. Everybody knows Austin Summers if you play Buddyfight. Also a RealityCx teammate. Shout out to him. Dude's a god.
Love it.
Yeah. Just, we went out, partied, got skewers. He showed us around. And I think just, as we approached the day of Worlds itself, I didn't really do much playtesting. I went in with the same mindset that I went into Chicago with is, if I playtest, while it is good practice, I tend to stress myself out whenever I second guess decisions. So I kind of minimized my playtesting. I asked questions to the people around me saying, hey, what do you think I should do? Yada, yada. What card do you think is here? And that's some of the deck ideas that I came up with, boosted me up into second place, which was, for me, it was out of nowhere. I went from being a borderline, top 8 player from 4 years running now to finally getting top 8 and winning my first regional to now being second place at Worlds, which is great. But Japan was a very fun, very out of my comfort zone, enjoyable experience. I would love to go back. I hope to go back again next year. And if it doesn't happen, I will still probably go during Worlds, even if I'm not participating, just to go say hi to some of the people that I met, and keep the friendship up. That's all about it.
Yes, well, look at that. We applaud winners here because Mogo Gaming is run by the Midwest Chief himself, and
sir,
the House of we are the House of Champions. So clearly, I like the mindset though of not second guessing yourself and not in trying to get as much just relaxation in before you just get the nerves and the jitters. I think that's true champions. They only rise to the occasion. The occasion comes to them. We don't fear anything. I'm here for it. I love it. But as you said, we hope to be able to play next year, and that's mainly because of what's happening is the new plague. It's like they couldn't close the flag anymore, so they're just gonna close the planet.
Oh yeah, they decided to do this. Yeah.
And for those of us in the community, we were very moved because you yourself had the experience and you went through it. How was that?
I would have to say, and this is probably where I might slow down a little bit, because it was very just hindering, like, is how I would have to put it. You know, it started out so small, like a small nasal drip where, like, you know, it felt like allergies, and it quickly devolved into me waking up, learning how to like, I had to learn how to, like, breathe again because everything was my body was shutting down.
Yeah.
And it turned to that, and just, you know, after a week of nonstop trying to figure out, being scared, you know, the outcome, like, you know, all the stories and all the news and everything going around, I was like, all right, well, you know, I hope it's not my last, you know, couple days on Earth, but it wasn't. You know, I'm here, I'm talking, I'm better.
Exactly. We here. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't have the bravery to go make a post as you did, and, you know, try to save as many human beings as I could, because I was like, you know what, y'all gonna get yourselves killed. But I too have for 11 days, and that's the problem. Everyone reacts differently because I never got the hit on the lungs, but for the middle 6 days, I could not have food. Like, any solid food that came in came right back out. It was dark. And then, you know, they hit that loss of appetite. And, you know, I'm one of the big ones. Like, I was like, whoa, me not eat. What is this? I don't even understand this life. It took me half a day to eat half an apple. And I was like, this is not my life. I'm dying at all. And like some weird anime miracle, I actually got better the day on my birthday. Like, I was able to eat solid food on my birthday. I was like, the anime. But that's just from us to you all, as two people who have went through the gauntlet of it. People, stay your butt at home. Stay at home. It ain't worth it. Everyone delivers food now. We have Untapped In for our buddy fights. We have these communications. Stay at home and stay safe. It's not fun. It's not fun, and it's not worth it. Like, trust us, we did it.
Yeah. And it's more or less like it is, and it's not so much of like, don't, like, if you're not worried about yourself, like, be worried about the people around you. Like, my dad is, you know, currently, you know, in ICU isolation at a hospital. He was in a coma for 17 days. His body gave up on him, and, you know, he's slowly recovering and getting better. And it's this thing affects us in such different ways, and people that, you know, even if you think you're safe, you just might not be. And there's no risk, there's no point risking it. Like, just, you know, practice social distancing, be safe. Don't do anything that could put you and, like, you know, a lot of people in danger. This thing spreads like wildfires. Do not do it.
Similar note, like, my mother caught it, and we did just the math. She, who had never left the house for like a month, and then there was me, who flew in from New York and then went to work and then came back home. So where do we think she got it from? I was like, well, I just almost killed my mother. Despair. I'm like, you know, and that was day 1 through 4 of my mental psychological breakdown. So, like we said, please stay at home. But, you know, that's enough of the gloom and doom.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Let's sip some tea and work that away.
For sure.
Tastes like darkness. All right, but let's talk about why I don't know if you've been paying attention to the community, because the rest of the world is out there in turmoil, but there's this division in the Buddyfight community between competitive and casual players. Now, I used to call myself the casualist casual, and due to a Mogo gaming project that we're hopefully going to have fun releasing soon, I've learned that I'm not as casual as I think I am, but so I've dropped that title. But there is a thought process of being competitive in this game versus being casual, and you're the world runner-up, so I think it's just fair to say you would consider yourself a competitive player. Yes, no?
I would definitely consider myself, like, if I had to put myself in a left or right room of being competitive or casual, I am definitely a competitive person.
I know third-party votes are wasted. I'm pulling this off.
Competitiveness, and I don't think there needs to be a divide. I don't think, because there is, like, people think that, you know, I think people who, it's an excuse to say, like, to me personally, because I've heard so many times about people using decks and then getting upset about losing. And, you know, I ask, hey, well, what deck did you play? And they'll say something like, oh, well, I played Sun Dragons. Like, my man's like, this is 2019. That deck's not relevant anymore. I didn't play when it was relevant, but I know the relevant decks. And if you're using the excuse of, you know, you hate this game because you keep losing, and I look at your deck and it's like, oh, you're not playing a deck that's, you know, suitable to win. You are playing a deck at this point because you like the art style. You just like the deck. It's not a good deck. And I guess that's where, like, the whole like divide is just, I don't care about being competitive or casual. I care about your reactions toward the game and how it affects other people. I have multiple, like, experiences of people playing decks that at regionals, like, always at regionals, actually, like, round 1 and round 2 are some of the most unenjoyable times to play the game for me, because if I go against somebody that I know is playing a deck that is not quite up to par, and I'm usually playing a deck that is very good, like D Dragons. I had Time Dragon, I still have it. I mean, if you lose to it and you complain saying the deck is dumb, and it's like, yes, the deck is powerful because it is, one, it's new, and two, they're focused on it because it sells. But if you're playing something that's so outdated, like 3 years ago, and you're complaining about losing, saying that you know, Bushi over supports that and it makes it busted, and I was like, well, I mean, there are multiple decks that can, you know, probably combat it and win, and, you know, it is not just a black and white world of my deck sucks, therefore this game sucks. It is, you are making the conscious decision to play a bad deck and then ruining other people's experiences because you believe that you are far better with this deck than a meta deck is with somebody that isn't quite up to a skill level.
Well, I think that's very good. That's very good. The tea was scalded, and I had to put it down. That was so nutritious, filled with the good nutrients and information. Tell these people, Cameron. Tell them, Big Cam. But I think I want to have a question. You said because the decks are good, and I always feel like good is such a subjective word. Like, what was good? How do you measure good, right? And I feel like that's the thin line that we never really address as competitive and casual, because good can mean something different. Can it draw you a lot of cards? Can it gain you a lot of gauge? A deck can do that. But for competitive players, it always seems like, but do you win though? Like, that's cool. Can you win the game? Like, it's that Lisa Simpson meme, but can you beat my ass? But can you? What? So my main example is, and we're going to have, and feel free to laugh. I won't take any offense.
For sure. I mean, go ahead.
I ran, I'm so casual. I just have a lot of decks now. You know, you collect a lot of decks. It's like, you hate to see your children locked in the basement. So every once in a while, I just empty the box and just say, I'm going to put 4 different deck boxes in at random. And we're going to go to the shop with them. And one time I put my Skull Warriors.
Okay.
And I was like, ooh, we're going to play these. And I had to go against, this was 2018, 2019. I think it was Garga, third Garga was popping, not Garga, all of them, but just the third one, the Lifing, the Penguin.
Yeah.
So we did so much on our first turn, because I specialize in Katana Rook. We did so much on our first turn. We had gauge, we drew cards, we dropped 2 cards out of his hand first turn, took both his gauge. And I was like, oh, Moscow Warriors is looking nice. So he went second, and then I died. And I was like, well,
there was that.
Put my cards up and my feelings. Get the Grubhub out. I'm gonna go eat the rest of this pain because y'all is not trying. But then people were saying, but that what you're doing was so cool. And then I was like, but I can't win. Like, so what is the measure of good to compare people, and then like to casual people, like, hey, I did the thing, I did the cards, I was moving my hands and playing the solitaire.
So,
So what's good to competitive people? That's the question.
So I guess where I would put it at is decks. Like, obviously, a deck has something that it's good at, or else it wouldn't be a deck. Like, you know, examples like Venom Swamp's good at milling, but if that's all it does, like, and there's other examples like the decks that I believe that are good that makes it competitive are decks that can work around just about whatever they sit in front of. And obviously there is no end all. I don't think there's an end all be all like this deck will beat you no matter what. Because Buddyfight is such an open game. Because the ban list is it's so soft. Like it's so soft. And generic cards exist and stuff like this and dual world cards, everything like that. You can make a deck to a point to where it can play out, and I think that's where the competitive side goes into it. Because I think more casual to me seems like people that don't they sort of just don't do their research on stuff that is like big and bad at the things, and they don't look into their cards, like their card pool, to see if they have outs. Like, let me think here. I just know that I think there was a discussion, not even a discussion, it turned into an argument at the Houston Regional Singles Regional last year, where I was playing D-Dragons. I already got my win at Chicago by that point in time. And I played against a Folktale deck. And Folktales were cool, is where I would put it. I think at that point they were a little outdated because they didn't have a way to protect their book. And the book was just super easy to get rid of. And me playing D-Dragons, I have access to stuff like Epoch.
All that and that goes. This is over.
Dugang, Zack Scythe, stuff like that. That just drops all the soul and then drops the thing. And I think it became to a point where I was like, the card in question was the Spell Null for Folktale. It wasn't out yet. And that was the whole basis of my opponent's argument was, well, if I just had the Spell Null, you couldn't have done anything like that. And, if I flash my hand, I can show you I have 2 extra copies of the spell. My deck it consistently creates advantage. Whereas yours, if I touch your book, you don't make it out. But there's ways to... I think there were ways in Dungeon World that could fight it. If anybody could do it off the top of my head, it's probably Austin. Like, Austin knows that world like the back of his dang hand. Like, but not doing the research, definitely building like a straight line deck. While it can catch people, if your deck if it's straight lines, just flat out kill somebody, then you got it. You got it. But the decks that can just change to any other direction and build its way into a certain way to beat you down or to wall you out or stuff like that, or have more protection or have more stall or have more impedes, like just stuff like that, you probably aren't going to do that well. And just clear cut, like, decks that have more tools are just going to win, and those people that like winning who are competitive are going to play those decks. And if you are willing to sacrifice your ability, like you saying like I'm a casual player and stuff like that, but you complain about losing, you should probably play a competitive deck or something like that. That's just how it goes, because nobody's having fun at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I understand, and trust me and the Electro Deity conglomerate, we have so much infighting about the concept of Electro Deities, because people like they can be competitive. I was like, well, no, Lost World is competitive, and us, we are just beautiful ladies, also known as Demon Dragons, but we can just run to it faster than the other decks. And then they're like, no, we have so many options. We have such a wide card pool. I was like, you've named one-off scenarios and one-off situations that will never lead to anything productive and just get in the way of our only way to win, go to Lost.
Yes.
And which leads me to our final question. We're all here thanks to the current crisis. All our sets have been pushed back, but we've seen some shenanigans coming out in the future with Buddy again, Volume 2 and 3. And of course, the bring back of everyone from Ace, the first half anyway. Glory Valiant. So we've seen some herp and some derp. We've seen some things where I have literally picked up. I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I play Buddyfight anymore because I don't. I'm not here for any of this. This isn't even tea anymore. I'm like, oh, this is pure liquor. I need a drink after some of these. I do, because I'm like, you gave God Punk's counter call. Wow, and you reduced their size. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's very cool, honestly. I am excited about these.
I have a whole nother adjective for it.
For sure, I believe that. I believe that. Well, I think it's cool. I think it'll definitely be it'll be annoying, is where I would put it. But I like all these new cards coming out. I'm more focused on Glory Valiant, more so because that's where my support's coming in. Because I just like Lost World. Lost World's what got me into Buddyfight. I was like, oh, you know what? This dude kind of sounds neat. He pulls a deck out of nowhere and, slaps somebody. I'll play this deck. And it got me so. I'm excited about the support. Cards that really, actually, I think are sweet. That definitely that new Battle of Valiant card. The counter draw 2 cards and gain a life for each different Lost Vader on your field. That card's pretty cool. I like that card a lot. Just the ability to counter gain life so you can get out of a different situation. Because Lost World, you're usually trying to kill the turn you go into Lost World. You are probably killing your opponent. And if you don't, you probably didn't build to stop it. You probably threw in spell nulls, and that's all you got. That's what mine was. All right, I threw in spell nulls, and if he gets around my spell nulls, then I am dead. Life sucks. But we just put out so much pressure and the ability to keep swinging and putting out high amounts of power and damage that a lot of people couldn't deal with it. And if you played the sequence correctly in almost any situation, as long as you knew the opponent's deck and you had the right cards at the time, you probably won the game. But other cards in that set that intrigue me, I like the Zerberos deck. I think the Zerberos deck is going to become a thing again, where with the new Revived Supremacy Zerberos, just because if you couldn't kill them now, we're just gonna keep stacking them, and they're going to hurt you a lot. I think that deck's going to be very good. Or if not, I think it'll be scary. I don't know if it'll be great, but it's Ancient World. Ancient World's got access to Sturdy Dragon Strike to throw these things in the drop zone faster.
I think my problem that I discovered is because these cards we were getting spoiled so intermittently throughout the things, but the fact that the new Zerberos can go get the new set spell, and that set spell can say pitch another Zerberos. I was like, so just turn 1, the board gains plus 20k defense, 20k power, and 2 crit. Just the board. All right, I activate my Pike. It also gains 2 more crit, so it swings for 5 or 7 on the first turn.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And
we're comfortable with this. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. It can be really hard to get out of that situation because they're not going to stop the power. The power's still going to be there next turn. You have to do something then and there. You have to answer it. And I think it'll be okay because they only get 1 attack. So attack nulls. I don't know if this thing can be nulled if it's attacking alone. It can be, so that's good. Because that would be insane. I don't know why I would think. But that deck seems cool.
So what do you think would be the meta? We've heard from other people that post all of this, someone said Athora and Evil Demonic Dragon would be the top 2. And then I was like, well, Lost exists. But, remember, we haven't had Time Dragons, haven't had a time to shine in America because America got its flag turned down.
I don't think they're going to do it.
You don't think Time Dragons going to make it? Wow,
no.
Second person to say it.
I don't think so. Time Dragons don't have a way to stop what a lot of decks are getting nowadays, or what a lot of decks are, not even a lot, but like the bigger decks that are coming into the picture. We can't stop final phase attacks. We can't stop that. Where we will just die. We have no sort of protection. Decks like the superhero deck, the one that impact in final phase and just keep attacking, we don't have a way to stop that. Because Chronos and Block End only stops the battle phase, and it can only be used in battle phase. And these cards are saying, well, stand up your cards, and these cards can attack in final phase. It's like, oh, okay, well, that pretty much just tells me to stop playing the card game. And yeah, I think decks that are doing that are becoming very strong. I think Sync and the Mystic Knight deck is getting, I think the deck's getting really strong. I believe Athora and EDD are probably good picks for top 2 decks. Anything that can, like, decks that can get to Lost fast, such as D-Dragons and stuff like that, I think they have a good shot. And even getting there fast isn't a great answer to stuff like the new Athora and stuff like that. And it's just not new Athora, is it? My bad. I'm losing my train of thought. But just these new stuff, like decks are speeding up, and it's becoming fun, also aggravating, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I like to max a lot of my decks out in rarity.
Oh my god, my wallet. those
entire,
areas.
Yeah, my entire Time Dragon deck is maxed out, and I'm trying to get rid of it because, realistically speaking, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna play it because, one, I love Lost World, and while that deck can use Lost World, I like Dimension Dragons. That's my favorite deck. And just,
did you see the new Vanity wears a jacket like Rama? I'm like, so now I have to get SPs?
Yep, I
have to support best outfit. I have to support drip Vanity now. What?
Yep, I'm excited about that Vanity. I'm excited about it. It's so. It's weird. It's weird.
So many competitive people have had this mindset. That's why I love being casual, because I was like, it's one, it drips. 2, it gets rid of the board, and we'll restand it our own way. We'll figure it out. We can restand it out.
It's that, but it's like there are with this card coming out, depending on how relevant it becomes, there are ways to just stop it. There are ways like Drago Traps. Like, all right, that card can't attack. Like, well, dang. All right, well, you got me there.
No, you have bad manners. Dimension no. If Drip Daddy's going on board, I got 20 cards to make Drip Daddy gonna do what it do.
Yeah, we gotta let him ride. We gotta let him, stretch his wings and fly. And I really like this card. The card's cool. I'm gonna get an SP. I'm probably gonna get a play set. I'm not gonna play a play set. I just want a play set. I want to get like the new Dimension Draws. This is the 3rd copy of Dimension Draw I'm gonna own a play set of, because that Dimension Draw is beautiful. I didn't even notice this new spell, this counter, nullify the attack and gain 10 life. That card seems funny. I don't think it'll ever happen, but it seems funny. See, this is another card. This is another card that's going to tell Time Dragons to stop playing the game. Counter, stand all cards in your field, and then if for this turn, all cards in your field can attack during the final phase. If you stand 3 or more, draw a card. Lost World gets that. That means people who play Lost World, if they're thinking about a Time Dragon meta, if they're putting the dots together, we cannot stop final phase. Final phase is a very big phase that we kind of just brush under the rug, and hopefully nobody has an answer to. And a lot of people are getting answers to it.
Well, I was going to say, in that set, if you watch, not only did Mystic Knights get their restand and swing in the final phase, Folktale got their restand and swing in the final phase. Legend World, with the important subsets of Legend World, the White Art Sarkal had Sylph, the Impact Monster, the what's them people? They are called the Pillarmen. Triple Horse. Yeah, the Pillarmen. JoJo reference. There's always a JoJo reference. But like they get attacked in the final phase. So it is interesting. But so like let's frame it. If you had to pick two decks that would be the meta post Glory Valley.
If I had to pick two decks, I would say I think with access to a lot of stuff in Hero World, I think Superhero Warriors, the Final Phase Impact deck that can, I think it's Zeta. I think that deck is a very good shot. Athora, EDD. But if I had to pick two decks, I'm going to stick with on the Superhero Warriors. And honestly speaking, people aren't looking at it, or people are looking at it and they're choosing not to talk about it. I think D-Dragons combined with Grace of the Sun Deity. I think that generic card makes Disturb Hand unable to leave the board. Therefore, you can't draw cards. Yeah. They need to ban.
If I can't draw cards, I would like to. If I can't draw cards, what?
A lot of decks are getting to combat that with checking top cards or just searching, but not being able to draw cards. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, that was a lot of plays in my worlds. Was just slap Disturb Hand on the board, put it there, and if my opponent has the Ranma or whatever it needs to pop my Disturb Hand, you got rid of it. I took a card out of your hand to get rid of my card. But a lot of people just don't care about it. Like, if it hits the board, they are in trouble. And now that Grace of the Sun Deity is coming out, I think that's what the card is. It's Disturb Hand can't leave the board until battle phase, which means a lot of your draw spells just aren't going to go off. They're just not going to do it. Like, decks that rely on like, look at like Chronoslick Movement would be dead in the water. Lange would be dead in the water. A lot of these cards that cannot get rid of Disturb Hand, I think that deck is going to be pretty big. I'm gonna play it. Just throwing it out there. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna test it and see how it goes. And if it's not like great and I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Like, I just like the fact that there's so many stupid cards you can touch Grace of the Sun Deity with. It's like, holy crap, that card is really strong. So if you're looking for another foil generic that is going to be pretty good to get, it's going to be that card. That card is a threat. That card is a big problem.
Oh, disgusting. Well, thank you, Cam. Thank you, Big Cam. You have been amazing. You've answered all the questions expeditiously. I hope our viewers, Mogolites out there, will listen, and so they can hear more words of your wisdom. Where can they reach you? Give us the links. Put us on the T. What's going on with you?
Honestly, like, I'll be on Facebook. If anybody needs to, like, shoot a message or anything, just Cameron Big Cam. I would like to give shout outs to, like, Team RCX, James Chung, Austin Summers, Jared Collier, Corey Turner. I was trying to think of the last name. I was going through my head. Khalil, obviously, that's my big brother. Like, that dude's the homie for sure. Every one of my teammates are awesome. Anybody who helped me along the way to get to where I am now in this game, and I hope it sticks. I hope it just wasn't a one-year wonder. And if it is, like, I had my time at the top. Like, there's always going to be somebody better than me. But that's not going to discourage me. Like, just keep playing the game, get better, learn what needs to be done. Fucking Buddyfight, like, let's do it. I don't know.
That's great. Well, for all those teams, we'll have their links to their social medias.
Awesome, man.
We'll have the links to their social medias in our description. We'll definitely pass on the word, and thank you for being here. Mogolites, you heard it from the Royal runner-up, Big Cam himself. And if you have any more questions for us and have any more suggestions of who you'd like to see, give us a shout out. And you know, it's YouTube, so we always have to end it with our favorite: like, comment, and subscribe. But thank you for joining us, and